Good advice, and I think Marcus, that was one issue that we were concerned about initially.
Yep.
I mean, in our case, we are happy to own a problem. If we have done something wrong, first to say, okay, we get it, things do go wrong. So that's not an issue culturally, but obviously that's been something I've been hesitant about. But Marcus, only a week ago, talked me into being a tweeter.
Yes.
A tweeter.
Yeah.
Just explain, how does that go from being a game and just playing around and letting people snoop in your life to actually, where is there that we could use that power of that kind of following to help people sell their properties without being commercial about it? How would you see that working?
Well, I mean, Twitter is an open situation and environment. It's also very vibrant. To be able to not only push to Twitter, but listen, because whilst there's a lot of noise on Twitter, 1% of that is gold, and you're actually finding real people with real needs. So if I'm sitting and I'm tweeting to either my friend or just in general on my spare time, going, oh my God, I love Glenelg. If I say I love Glenelg and you've got a property to sell, you might go, wow, you might really like this. And you're sharing something with me. You're inspiring me. No one is ever going to throw a rock at you for sending them inspiration. So it's a very fine line between push marketing and social marketing, because it should offer to help someone. Whether the quality of your tweets is also significant. Are you sharing? Are you entertaining? Are you informing? And what is the delicate balance of messaging? So I think really having a strategy that involves, collaboration, asking people questions, listening to their problems, finding people who are using keywords related to your products or services that you sell, like I want to sell my house, or I love the suburb, or, etc. You might find I'm looking for a place to rent, and they're from South Australia. You can all of a sudden listen to people and begin to help them in situations like Twitter, versus just using it as a secondary push like you would any other marketing platform.
Stephenie, it's a good point, actually. I just remember after recently starting Twitter myself and starting to tweet, a couple of times I'd say something interesting, and then I'd get a tweet back from a company or an organisation saying, hey, you've mentioned this, why don't you click on this link to get more information. It was quite related, so of course I clicked on it, and so it does work. I think that sort of thing does work if you're actively listening, and then you're able to push it back to to the company or to the client. It's just fantastic what can be done in that space. Yeah.
So what we're doing in our environment is we're now encouraging all of our team, the sales team in particular, to get on board and start playing around in this space, because we happen to think that the depth of connections that we can create through this space will be far greater than anything else we could do. Do you think that commercially, is distasteful, or are we on the right tram with what we're doing? Because we've obviously been on the forefront of this, but we're pushing the boundaries way out at the moment.
Well, I think the old adage, you do business with people you like. At the end of the day, folks will do business with people they like. To earn respect and trust in an online environment where all the Twitter profiles are equally the same. I could pretend to be Britney Spears, It's in truth, people will learn to respect you, your voice, your product. Being authentic and remaining in an authentic voice, and that might be the unique voice of your employee, or the unique voice of yourself, or the unique voice of the company. Identifying clearly what those goals and messages are, giving folks the latitude to be unique and authentic, and respectful of that, giving them guidelines for which to say, we're very excited that you're going to tweet and you're one of our salespeople or one of our administrative staff, etc. But also, having a voice of the company, the voice of the brand, and the voice of the individual. You'll find that the circle of influence, those who respect one of your staff because they're also a working mother, or that they're a member of a football club, the common threads of uniqueness that generate a sense of trust and respect will become more evident, and the bonds consequently a lot stronger. So I think it's a very good thing to enable your people to push the barriers of communication and collaboration and build a real online community over a push mechanism of typical marketing.
So how does this dovetail back into really traditional approaches? In our case, online is huge. We then have all of the social media linkages and so on. So, for example, this program will get to a lot of people because of the fact that it's hopefully interesting, it's factual, we're not pushing a particular thing. Where does this all end? Where's it? It's moving so quickly.
I think we're entering an era now of context, certainly. As our devices and more content is interacting with us, we look at augmented reality now, QR codes, so virtual and digital merging. So, you know, to be able to have webinars where not only we're sitting and having this conversation, but Ustream is looking at it and people are asking us questions in real life from South Africa. That's where the power to break down barriers and walls and communication, expand ideas and work together really becomes meaningful. So I think we're only, as the devices improve, as the broadband continues to reach further, easier, clearer and faster, we're going to work together as a planet, as people, as individuals, as countries, with much more meaning. And I think it's very exciting.
Talk to me about online video. We've invested heavily in giving people video of their properties so that can then be posted online. Where's video going?
I think video is one of the most powerful marketing tools online. Anthony, I strongly encourage our clients to include that in their marketing mix, no matter what the product. And it could be as boring as making salt, but you know what? There's people who are very interested in the ability to grind salt and make salt. So in looking at the ability to share, we love to watch things and we learn a lot by implicit behavior versus explicit behavior, watching people's expressions, looking at the tools, all the subtle nonverbal clues that you can pick up, which really convey depth and a humanization of brands. Video is very compelling. I think the usage of using it to sell properties is very powerful because I'm almost there. I can't smell it, and if you were boiling cinnamon on the stove, that would really give it a sensory depth, but it's pretty darn close.
Okay, and so from the perspective of costs and so on, obviously the costs are starting to come down now, so we're doing videos on properties very cost effectively. Years ago it cost a fortune. 3D I see as the next wave, and once we are seeing these products come through, which are the big screen TVs that you're operating as a computer, sitting back in your lounge chair, viewing even video now, but 3D next, from your lounge chair of properties is going to be pretty amazing, isn't it?
My advice would be with 3D is remember the device for which people are consuming their media on. So whilst taking it to the very large screen, also making it real for the small screen and scaling that by the uptake of the device. Because as we're moving from smartphones, now we're into iPads, we're also looking at 3D television. Where are folks going to consume this media? Are they going to see it and take a photo of it from outside of the building? Are they going to see a QR code somewhere? Are they going to see it in a newspaper or in a print situation? They're going to view it online. Where are they going to next? And where are they going to consume the media is really important for consideration.
Now, this is a thing that you both might find interesting, that the salespeople, some of the traditional salespeople are now saying, let's take photographs off the web. Let's stop giving them so much information because they don't ring us anymore. People don't ring. They choose where they're going to purchase a property pretty much online before they even go and look at it. So the open inspection numbers are dropping. The number of inspections they have is dropping. So they're pretty much doing their full online shopping, and then it's a confirmation visit. I have my own view, but what's your view on stripping content to make people ring?
It certainly is something I've not heard of yet. So
well, you've heard it now.
Throw out the avant-garde, I love it. It might be the neighborhood, it might be other drivers that bring someone into purchasing or wanting to purchase in a particular neighborhood. And I think property is a pretty personal decision. You know, if I haven't seen it, if I haven't driven past it, will it be enough? It might be good for rental, but in still needing the brick and mortar side of an investment into a home, buying a piece of property is very different than renting one. So I think the seller's sentiment around that would be different. I think it's out there, but
let me give you a scenario, and this is my explanation to our team. So I'm getting approached and saying, well, we're doing video content, we're doing a lot of photographs, the quality's gone through the roof, it's fabulous. Valuers now no longer now necessarily view properties, they go and look at the property on the web because it's so accurate, there's so many angles and so on. You can see the street view, pretty much everything. My view is that the consumer is so time poor and they're so over doing anything they don't want to do, that you run the risk that they won't get exposed to your property at all. Because I happen to believe that the modern consumer, if they didn't get photographs and they didn't get content, they will simply say, no, seen that, don't like it, and discard it and not even bother to go and look at it ever, nor make the phone call. That's what I think's happening. So in other words, they're taking control back and they're saying, I'll only ring a real estate agent if I choose to. And frankly, I'd rather go the path of least resistance, I'll pretty much decide on a house I want, or one or two that I want to have a look at,
And have confirmation.
rather than getting caught up in the system that we have had for 50. Well, I've been in the business 35 years, and basically, I think the consumer's taking control back, and I don't think there's anything we can do about it,
Yeah.
except
Absolutely.
put more glamorous visuals, more glamorous views to really entice them to come and actually look at the property.
Enticing tools.
That's what I think.
Well, I think we buy now. We know about human online behavior, and we do know that we're finding content accidentally. By using things like Twitter, I might not be house shopping, but you've said something and I've clicked on it. And I might that lead to a purchase that I had no intention. I did not go to
Yep.
Twitter for that purpose, but by accidental discovery, it becomes very meaningful. So if it is the instance of putting great content is still king, Anthony, and online is no different. You know, having a great presentation, having a user-friendly website or a user experience that is very high, of high quality, both in visual appeal, the appearance of it, but also in the interactivity. You know, the user experience really does matter. And if you continue to have high quality in that way, then people will keep coming back and looking. Whether or not they're buying a house today, you're going to be the first person they go to when either they want to buy or they want to sell. So it kind of works on both ends.
Both ends. Now, Marcus, we've got to wrap up now. Any questions, final questions for Stephenie?
No, I just think it's been great having you here, actually. I've learned quite a lot myself. No, I think we probably need to sort of stay in touch and find out what's going on, because as Anthony said, you know, it's a constantly changing field, and so unless we have someone in that space that we can sort of turn to, I think, you know, it's great to be able to be in that space and to see it really being used effectively. But again, it's just changing, so yeah, we'll be calling you.
Now, Stephenie, I've got one last question, as I always do. What is the one thing that you would do with the knowledge that you've got about real estate and our business that you would start doing that we're not currently doing that you're aware of?
Foursquare?
Right. Why?
Why? Because Foursquare is all about geolocation, and it's all about where I am and what I'm looking for. So by highlighting particular neighborhoods of interest, or in your region where you have great salespeople, where do people go to discover an area that they like? They go to the park, they find the church, they find the pub, they find the shopping center. And these become anchor things in folks' life. So it might be by checking in at a shopping center that, by the way, if you love shopping here, you could live 5 minutes away. Foursquare is free. So leaving tips in Foursquare is a very simple, free, and easy way to use the digital overlay of a realistic map and leave information for people to find with links, etc. So it's just a really simple and easy implementation, and Foursquare is a lot of fun.
We've got 3 of our IT guys will be listening to this. Marcus is the head, and Nat, which is one of our other guys. And of course, we've got Tanya starting in that space. They're the ones directly involved with it. Guys,
Yeah,
onto it.
absolutely.
Thank you very much, Stephenie.
Thank you, Anthony.
That's been great.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Stephenie.
Marcus.